So welcome to Module 2, Building a Powerhouse Network. You know, we're going to get to all of the RESPA compliance issues as we progress in this course in Module 3. But before we have to worry about making our relationships RESPA compliant and in accordance with other federal laws and statutes, we first of all have to have relationships that we even need to worry about. So it's important in order to move your business forward that you have the right relationships going forward. We told you this class would be a little bit different from RESPA classes you've taken in the past, in that we'd try to give you a lot of practical information. So here's what we did. Realizing that you need a full-service powerhouse that takes your clients where they want to go, we went out and interviewed a number of top-producing agents and brokerages across the country. And we got from them their list of settlement service providers and other business professionals that they were interacting with in the world of real estate today. The list is over 50 different types of settlement service providers. And at the beginning of this module was a PDF file for you to download called Your Powerhouse Network. And we left you room there to make some notes and even write in the names of specific settlement service providers that you're going to work with going forward. So if you didn't get a chance to print that out, you may want to do so as we work through modules 2A and 2B and talk about the content of this Powerhouse Network. One of the categories on the sheet is online resources. And the reasons for that are fairly obvious in today's technologically savvy world, because our consumers and our clients today are looking for us online. So, you need a webmaster, except the world around websites and web pages has changed drastically. And today, most people coming into our business are not creating web pages in the traditional way that you and I may have created them when we started our businesses, because it's an expensive route. And to say that you and I could ever have created them was a bit of a misnomer anyhow. Because in the old internet world, I had to hire a webmaster. And I've heard quotes everywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 to create for you a website, and it was all in HTML code. You paid the webmaster dearly for their services, and then you paid them every single time you wanted to post something up or take something down. And it's very hard in that kind of a restricted type world to create a fluid, flexible website in which you can actually be proficient. And today, sites like WordPress.com allow you to create a very flexible website for free. We'll talk more about WordPress as we move forward, but know that you have to make the decision early on as to whether you're going to use some outside technician as your webmaster or whether you're going to do it on your own. There's a place on your list for a photographer. You know, the days of real estate have indeed changed, and they've changed drastically, it seems to me, when it comes to the world of photography. It was one thing when we, as professional real estate agents, were taking photos or having photos produced and putting them into MLS for viewing by other agents. It's an entirely different world when our photographs today are displayed across hundreds of sites to thousands of consumers thanks to the magic of syndication. So, I'm going to recommend that at this point in time, you find a professional photographer, or if you're unwilling to take that step, at least take the step of getting into some professional photography classes so that you can take better photos. The top producing agents across the country are paying great attention to that, and we should too. And while we're on the subject of photographs, how about a videographer? Do you have someone who could help you make videos like this? Have you located that person? They need to be in your business sphere of influence today. And just like we talked about with websites, today that videographer, in a lot of regards, could be you. With a simple flip camera and easy to edit movie editing tools, such as Windows Movie Maker or iMovie if you're a Mac fan, you need to have some way of producing videos. That's where the future of our industry is going. So don't wait. Get somebody on your team now or get proficient yourself at that particular type of function. A social media facilitator. You know, trying to keep track of everything that goes on today in the world of social media, whether you're utilizing Facebook, LinkedIn, the social media aspects such as the consumer advice and the interaction on Trulia and Zillow, or video sites such as YouTube, it's a lot to manage. So many top producing agents have located a social media facilitator to help them manage those sites. It's something to give consideration to as you move your business forward. Here's an interesting item I would never have thought of had it not been for talking with these top producing agents, and that's a computer service. A computer service, not only for you, but understand that many of these resources that we're building in this Powerhouse network are available for my clients as well. And when we talk to top producing agents about computer repair people or computer service folks, here's what they had to say. That their clients today rely heavily on the computer for their interaction with the agent. That they're on there exchanging emails, they're using the computer to look up properties. And what the agents have come to recognize is if the client is having a computer issue, then the entire transaction comes to a standstill. So the top producing agents, having found someone who's good at computer service and repair, have passed that information and that settlement service provider along to their clients. Hey, just think about how long it took you to find a person who was good at that. It's information we should be sharing with our clients and customers. And while you're at it, you might as well find some local computer stores and outlets to get into your Powerhouse network. At this point in your real estate career, given the advent of technology, you should have a relationship with the local Apple Store or Best Buy so that you can provide that resource to your clients as well. I said I'd give you a little bit more information about WordPress. If you are thinking at all or have thought over the last couple of months or years about updating your website, getting a new website, or adding new features, here's some of the best news of the course. You've now procrastinated so long, you can just forget about that part. Because as I said earlier, people coming into our business today are not choosing to create websites in the traditional fashion. They're using platforms such as WordPress.com, a site you can go to and create your own website in plain text editing so that you can easily change posts, add photos, update information. And WordPress offers you both the domain name and all of that site presence and those tools for free. So if you've thought at all about updating your website, you owe it to yourself and your business to check out WordPress.com. As an example, I would invite you to visit our website at CourseCreators.com because that site, although we often refer to it as a website, it's not a traditional website. It is a WordPress blog. And WordPress gives us the ability to promote classes, to post up videos, to write blog posts, and even sell products off our site. So take a look at it as an example of what's available and what you can do for free today in that particular aspect of your business. We mentioned earlier the wonder of videos. So here's a couple of additional tips. At this point, you need to have a YouTube account. We talk about that and creation of it in our video class on how to make and create videos. And we also show you how to take those videos and edit them to get to what is a really great looking final product. So find yourself some type of simple video camera that you can use as the world of real estate moves forward. Another major category that appears on your Powerhouse network sheet is financing resources. That shouldn't come as any big surprise to anyone who's in the real estate industry. We've known forever that in order to be successful in closing a real estate transaction, that my clients have to have access to financing resources. And most clients find financing to be the most difficult part of the real estate transaction. So I'm willing to bet that in your Powerhouse network, you probably already have the name of a couple of good lenders. But the top producing agents are developing that even further. Because rather than having just a basic mortgage go-to person, they are now subdividing that category. Do you have an FHA expert in your Powerhouse network? If not, you need to locate one. In most markets across the country, FHA loans now account for about 80% of all the closings that are happening. And that's been true for the last couple of years. Let me give you a little bit of history on FHA because it helps put things into better context. In 1993, when I first came into the mortgage banking industry, about 80% of the loans at that time were FHA related. By 2003, that number had dropped to almost 30%. And by 2009, we were down to about 3% of the market in FHA loans. The reason was because at that period of time, the proliferation of subprime products, low down payment programs, 100% financing, which are the real benefit of FHA, low down payment and easier qualifying, had been surpassed by alternative financing products that were out on the market. And due to the mortgage fallout, most of those products have gone away. So FHA is back. It's bigger and stronger than ever. So you need to have somebody who's well-versed in FHA loans. And here's the real competitive edge benefit to you. Because for such a long period of time, FHA loans had shrunk in terms of market share, there's many practicing professionals out there who don't understand the current nature of FHA loans, don't understand some of the current changes, and don't understand how to get clients in to that type of product. So you need an FHA expert in your Powerhouse network. And while you're at it, you might as well pick a 1031 tax-deferred exchanger and locate them. Currently, we're in one of the best investment markets for real estate that we have seen in quite some time. In fact, I have the good fortune of living in Tucson, Arizona, which was recently named by Inman News as the 4th best real estate market for investment in the country. So investors are looking for people that can connect them with 1031 tax-deferred exchange people. And if you've missed out on hard money resources, they're back as well. We went through a period of time in the real estate industries from the 80s to the 90s when there was a lot of hard money or private money financing for people who didn't fit into the traditional lending boxes. And due to the mortgage collapse and the issues in the real estate industry, many of those investors and that financing went away, but they're back. And they're back in conjunction with the needs of our clients who fall outside of some of the strict guidelines of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac products. So if you don't have a private money lender, you need to find one of those for your Powerhouse network. Pre-purchase counselors. I found this fascinating in terms of the history of real estate financing and where we are today. And the information I'm about to share with you came from top producing loan officers across the country. In my conversations with them, they shared that today they are once again spending about 30% of their time getting people ready to buy. When I came into the mortgage banking industry in the early 90s, we spent a significant amount of time because credit scoring was relatively new, and we were helping people understand credit scores, helping them put together a program to save up down payment. We were helping them understand how to improve their credit scores. And then we went through a 10-year period where all of that was, well, pretty much unnecessary. Today, the need to counsel buyers is greater than it ever was before to get them ready to buy. And that's because of the economic downturns throughout the country. Because many people who earlier in their life never had an issue with qualifying now have gone through some financial tough times. They may have gone through a short sale or a foreclosure, and they are now coming back into the market as buyers. Those agents who can connect with people and put those buyers together with folks that can help them get into a position to buy, are building business for the future. Unfortunately, there are some real estate agents who say, I'm sorry, you don't have your down payment saved up, you don't have your credit good enough yet, let me know when you do, are simply passing that prospective buyer along to some agent who will connect them with someone in their network who can help them. Roadside Assistance. Here's another category that I never would have thought of and never had before in my sphere of influence network of settlement service providers. But after talking to top producing buyer reps, I think it needs to be there today. Because today's buyers tend to be more educated. You've probably experienced this. They are more willing to be participatory in the purchase process. They want to go onto Zillow, they want to go onto Trulia, they want to drive some neighborhoods, and they want to partner with you in terms of being involved in the transaction, more so than ever before. It's part of the social media fallout. So rather than take the position as a real estate licensee of turning to those clients that are willing to play some participatory role and tell them, I want to remain in charge, don't go to Zillow, don't go to Trulia, I can instead realign my network to take advantage of that and become even more productive. So do you have a list of the best gas stations and the lowest gas prices? Because the presentation that I saw done by top producing real estate agents would look like this. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, are you interested in partnering with me to find the home of your dreams? Because if you are, then I have an entire buyer partnership package that I am ready to give to you. And it has a lot of different helpful information in it that you can utilize in partnering with me to find the right home. It has a list of the best gas stations. In fact, there's a $50 gas card in there that's good for a 2-week period, because if you're going to participate in the process, it saves me a lot of time and effort, and I'm willing to give you back some of the benefit of that. It has the names of some car mechanics and good car repair places. And if you're new to town, I've put into my Powerhouse network for you a company which will let you rent a GPS for a 2-week period. I put in information about airport shuttles and other transportation arrangements. You know, what brilliance. Because those agents recognize that they can take that attitude of buyers of wanting to be participatory and leverage that by giving them the network and the resources to help them do so. Here's an interesting added benefit to creating a buyer partnership package. The agents that I talked to, I had questioned because you may have heard me mention that the gas cards, the GPS were for a 2-week period of time. And the agents laughed. And they said, well, we used to do it for a 30-day period. And when we did it for a 30-day period, do you know how long it took the buyers to find a house? You guessed it, 28 or 29 days. When they shortened the time period to 2 weeks, the buyers took 12 to 13 days to find their homes. I don't even begin to try to justify it or understand it. I just know there must have been a conversation in that household. Dear sweetheart, we got to go find our $400,000 house this week because our $50 gas card expires on Monday. And in fact, the buyer rep agents that are using these techniques said that when they first started the program, their lead time from their initial meeting of a client to getting that client under contract was a period of 6 weeks. Now, I haven't run the numbers, but it strikes me that's probably pretty close to the national average. Their implementation of programs like these reduced that time period to 2 weeks. So if that's all it does for you, I'd suggest it's a pretty big benefit. Print advertising. Because they looked in print. I know with all the technology we've just talked about that mentioning print advertising may come as a bit of surprise to you. But print advertising in newspapers, magazines, outdoor billboards, flyers are all making a huge comeback. They're doing it in conjunction with QR codes. QR codes, quick response codes. I know you have seen these. They're little computer graphics that look like the one here on the screen that I can now simply take my smartphone, my iPhone, my Droid, scan that image, and it takes me instantaneously to the website that I have linked the QR code to. So QR codes may be new to you in real estate, but they're nothing new to the business world. In fact, here's some interesting information for you. 24 of the nation's top 25 newspapers are failing financially. One is doing very successful, and that's USA Today. And if you pick up a copy, and I would suggest you do, take a look at USA Today's implementation of QR codes. You usually find a QR code that by scanning it takes you to the video of the day. You find QR codes that link you to their advertisers' websites and pages. Because what USA Today found out was how to turn a piece of paper into an interactive, technological video tool. And we can do the same thing in real estate. The city of Chicago used QR codes. And they put them on the backs of all the city buses and around the bus stops. You know, some of the codes gave you links to things like bus times and bus routes and schedules. But what was more amazing, if you're wondering whether the consumer world really understands these, is the fact that the city of Chicago created QR code links to city attractions, things like the museum, the park, festivals that were coming up, and all they put above the QR code was, check this out. The city of Chicago's servers were overloaded and shut down by consumers going to and accessing that information. So you need to develop a way to bring QR codes and print advertising to life in your business. You're starting to see them applied to real estate on for sale signs such as this. And when I scan that code, you may be asking yourself the question, where does that code take me? Well, it could take you anywhere that I direct on the internet to any URL that I have chosen. So it could take you to my website. It could take you to a search engine that allows you to search for other homes. It could take you to the video tour of this home, or it could take you to the MLS listing and additional information even on Zillow for this particular property. Let me tell you one of the best uses and implementations I have seen of this in real estate. If you can imagine this house with this QR code in front of it, then the agent shot a video where they are standing next to this sign, so that when you scanned the image, you were taken instantly to the video. And the video had me standing next to the sign saying, "Hi, my name is Len. I'm the listing agent for this property, and if you'd like to see it in detail and arrange a special tour, you can contact me either by text, by email, or by phone at the following numbers." However, I know right now you're sitting out in front of this home, and it's not that I'm spying on you, it's just that I know you just now scanned the QR code that was on the sign. So you'd probably like a sneak peek. So come with me, and let me give you a brief showing of the property. And then the video shows the agent walking up the driveway, and it cuts to the virtual tour of the property. What a great and innovative way to make static sign advertising come alive in a technologically savvy world. People are putting QR codes on postcards, on open house flyers. Try this. Put a QR code on your open house flyer, and then just watch how many of the prospective buyers actually scan it and watch the virtual tour while they're going through the home. A lot of them. So let me make it very, very easy for you. Because while there are services out there that you can pay lots of money to create QR codes, you can create your own QR codes for free on the internet. There's a brand new site. It's called goo.gl, of course, created by Google. Or you can just Google URL shortener and you will get a link to a section of Google that allows you to simply cut and paste any URL and it gives you the QR code. You copy and paste that anywhere. You could paste it into a flyer, you could paste it onto a postcard, you could give it to your printer and have it put on your open house signs. So what a great new piece of technology and a way for you to begin implementing it for free. So play with it. It'll add to your sphere of influence and it'll add to your Powerhouse network. You'll find a category on your Powerhouse network PDF sheet for homebuyer seminars. They're back, bigger and more popular than ever. So you may need to locate some faculty, some sponsors, and some participants to make a successful homebuyer seminar. You know the world of real estate and the world of financing surrounding it has changed drastically over the last couple of years. And all of the response by consumers and the net effect of the mortgage fallout, the short sales, the foreclosures on them, has made them have to relearn the home buying process. So what do you have in place to help them along that journey in terms of resources? In fact, several agents are now implementing home ownership classes for after people buy. You know, it's long been an often ignored portion of the home purchase process that we should have leveraged earlier as real estate agents. Think about all of the things that a new homeowner needs to know. Their questions about tax appeals, about the neighborhood, about homeowners association, about assessments, and much of that could be taught in a post-ownership class that allows you to build and solidify the relationship that you created with the client during the transaction. In fact, because Facebook allows me to create a business page for just about any purpose, you may consider creating a post-ownership Facebook page. Because now that you're a homeowner, here's a whole bunch of information. What a great, incredible, value-added service you could be providing to your new home buyers. And it has, of course, the added benefit not only of solidifying that relationship, but of being marketing for new buyers to you as well. You need to fill out your category for moving resources. Many of you probably had some of these relationships already in place. Folks like the moving company, packers, house cleaners, carpet cleaners, home repair, and Goodwill and consignment shops are all helpful people to start getting into your Powerhouse network. New home subdivisions and neighborhoods. You know, in a recent report that was done by NAR on a strategic task force, one of the comments that got made was that real estate over the next couple of years is expected to go hyper-local. Quite frankly, I always thought real estate was hyper-local, but I get what they're saying. That due to the depth of neighborhood and localized zip code information on sites like Trulia and Zillow, consumers today are much more focused on the area in which they are interested in purchasing. And therefore, they expect us to be much more detailed experts on particular neighborhoods and subdivisions than ever before. I mean, let's face it, a buyer purchasing in your market doesn't care what the overall average sales price is for your city or for your county. They care about what those numbers look like in regard to the specific neighborhood. So if you reached out and built relationships and added to your network, builders in the area, site representatives, or if you arranged for neighborhood tours to just help people that are interested in moving to the neighborhood understand the neighborhood and some of the services and facilities that are available to them. Have you built builder community promos? And in fact, what you'll find if you go to the most popular video website, YouTube, is that agents are beginning to post up area showcases. You could Google a search for the historical cathedral district of Sioux Falls and get a good example. Are there videos hanging or being promoted in your community that promote the neighborhoods in which you work. Because the fact of the matter is that before a buyer decides to buy this particular house, they first have to decide they want to live in this particular neighborhood, and this particular city, and this particular state. And so promoting states, cities, and neighborhoods is a big, big part of marketing efforts going forward. With today's green consciousness, you're going to have to add a whole new section to your Powerhouse network on environmental resources. I know that you probably have a home inspector that you regularly work with, and maybe even an HVAC contractor. Do you have links to an appliance store? Have you built a relationship with somebody that your clients and consumers can turn to for new and used appliances? Have you given them some green resources or the links to an energy auditor or a HERS rater? Many consumers with a green consciousness today are looking for the connections and the agents that will help make those connections for them in regard to real estate transactions. And then there are neighborhood connections, a whole new category. Well, with the increased attention to going hyper-local, are you providing detailed information about the schools, shopping, entertainment, movie theaters, restaurants, healthcare providers, and other facilities that are available in that particular neighborhood? You know, what we can do today with technology in terms of leveraging neighborhoods is absolutely phenomenal. Because if we're not promoting the neighborhoods in which we're working, then how can we expect buyers to live there? So, could you write a blog post featuring the best local restaurant? Could you do a poll of the neighborhood to find out what their favorite shopping area is, or their favorite neighborhood hangout, or the best recreational facilities? You know, all of these are ways that you expand your reach and your sphere of influence in real estate to reach more people. And then there's the category of selling support services. That's because everyone is moving for a reason. So if you're looking for ways to expand your sphere of influence, your base of business, and make even more profit and productivity in the coming year, have you connected with divorce attorneys, obstetricians, pediatricians, estate planners, and long-term care providers? Because all of these people have the great potential to be a wonderful referring source for you in real estate. Have you added them into your network? Because you need to. And relocation services. Today, more than ever, we live in a world of very transient people. People are moving to different cities and different locations all the time. So have you connected with a relocation company? Have you built a referral network and reached out to agents and other brokerages in neighboring cities and neighboring states? In fact, anywhere in the country. I'm willing to bet that your Chamber of Commerce can tell you the leading states or cities that people come from when relocating to your area. So have you reached out and connected with those people? And today's technology makes that easier than ever before. You know, we teach, and you can find it available online, a 3-hour course on LinkedIn to help build your sphere of influence. And I can't think of any more efficient, effective way for you to reach out and find all of the people we are talking about in this Powerhouse network than LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn is more than just your profile. It gives you the ability to build a sphere of influence in real estate faster and bigger than ever before. Let me simply contrast the old with the new to show you how top producing agents are moving ahead and how others are falling further and further behind. I distinctly remember coming into this business and having people say, if you want to be successful in real estate, Len, then you have to join the Rotary. You have to go to the PTA meetings. And we ventured forth to all those different locations where the primary task was to gather up a business card, take that back, enter it into your database. Because you can't have a business that's sustainable if you don't have a sphere of influence you are regularly reaching out to. So let's be real for a moment. How many of you have a stack of those business cards sitting on your desk, in your briefcase, in your purse, and you're going, someday I got to get those into my database. More good news. Just throw the cards away. Because chances are that if you don't have them entered at this point, you're probably never going to. And the truth of the matter is that given the transient nature of people, the emails and phone numbers and probably even the place they work has all changed since you collected the card. Use LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows you to look up people by various professions, various geographic locations, and even specific companies with which they work. And by requesting to form a connection with those people, you can build a network that is absolutely astounding. Here's a screenshot of my network of trusted professionals built on LinkedIn. And while you were out gathering up business cards, I simply went to LinkedIn, found the people that I wanted to be in my Powerhouse network, and you can see here that I have 523 of them. Now, LinkedIn tracks this network from 2 degrees and 3 degrees away. In other words, the connections of my connections and then all of their connections as well. So the point is that with a database of just 523 people, I have built a 5 million plus network on LinkedIn. The truth of the matter is that if you're still trying to use a traditional database where you have to collect the information and type it in, you won't live long enough to create a network of 5 million people. I did it in a matter of 6 months, and you can too. And the key is LinkedIn. There are many other settlement service providers that you may choose to put in to your Powerhouse network. We certainly need title and escrow people. We need home warranty companies. We need insurance providers. We need closing attorneys in some states, tax accountants, and the list is almost ad infinitum. But in Module 2 here, we have covered a list of over 50 people that you would and should have in your Powerhouse network today. You know, it's a far cry from the days of real estate where I simply needed a mortgage lender, a title person, an appraiser, and a home inspector. So many of you have work to do. And as you're building this Powerhouse network, the next logical question is, how can I reach out and build relationships with them that comply with RESPA, the Federal Real Estate Settlement and Procedures Act? So we need to deal next in Module 3 with some of the fundamental aspects of RESPA. We'll expand on that in Module 4 and then leave you with even more innovative ideas in Module 5. But I see a lighthouse ahead, and that means it's time to dock for a break here at the end of Module 2. Take the time to work through the PDF file and get a really good, solid list of people for in this Powerhouse network, settlement service providers and beyond. Because before you even begin to worry about how you keep those relationships safe in RESPA, you got to have the relationships. So go build them.